What's going on? What's going on? This is Dwayne Nettles, aka Mr. Nettles. I'm representing the Last on Hip Hop podcast. I'm gonna toss it to my co-host.
What's good, y'all? This Jose Rivera right here, man. This is gonna be a powerful episode. We're gonna give y'all some good content, man, and we gonna shake some heads up.
Yo, man, it's your boy, Maximilian, a.k.a. Max Speed, man. Live and direct. Man, you know the vibes, man. What's up?
All right, collectively we make the Last on Hip Hop podcast. This is episode 8, and this episode we're gonna do something a little special. We have a special edition this week. So this episode is gonna be the Last and R&B podcast. All right. So, but we're gonna get into it like we always get into it. We're gonna start with what are you wearing? Who wants to start? Who want to kick out? Who want to throw out their?
I'm gonna start, man. I'm gonna start because I'm keeping it basic. Next few weeks, I just be from work, fresh out the shower. You know what I'm saying? So it's flip flops. You know, flip flops, some shorts, and the tee, man. Straight to the podcast, man.
Straight out the word back.
I'm gonna go ahead. I've been trying to keep it simple too. You know what I'm saying? I got the Georgia Bulldog. Y'all can see I'm like a diehard fan.
You've been rapping these last weeks.
I'm repping. It's repping time. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no play in GA.
It's like a fraternity. It's almost like Dipset.
You know your Pastor Troy, John.
Listen, man, that's what I do, bro. I'm ready. Ain't no more playing GA. I'm gonna toss it to my boy Wayne, man. Just keep it simple, bro. Don't do too much now.
Either way, got to do too much.
I'm keeping it super simple today. Super simple. The patchwork flannel again. New patchwork flannel. Little Guns N' Roses tee. Just some simple black denim. And y'all know, as I keep it always, it would not be a Mr. Nettle fit without the kicks. So this week we're donning. My goal is to wear a different shoe every week until I just I'm not feeling.
Hey, stand alert! Stand alert!
Drum roll. Today's
that's definitely
rocking the royal blue Jordan 1s today. Classic shoe. So that's how we kicking it today. With the royal.
Hey, me and Max been keeping it real basic, bro. We need to turn up for you, bro.
I don't think I could turn.
I got a closet full of shoes now. Come on now.
Hey, matter of fact, no. I don't know if you guys remember. If we go back about maybe 6 episodes, Jose said how we can rock a different kick every episode. So I accepted the challenge. So I'm gonna try my best. Unless the kick unless the outfit calls for it, I'm gonna try to rock a different pair of kicks every week as long as I can.
Okay, man. I'm gonna leave that up to y'all, man. Y'all got
we gonna see how long we can keep it going. Hold me to it, guys. When I repeat a pair of shoes, somebody call me.
I ain't gonna. You know what, Wayne? I ain't gonna hold you to it, man.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
I'm gonna let the
because you know why? Right now. You know why I ain't gonna hold you to it? Because I already know how you. I know.
Max already know the pedigree. Max knows the pedigree. Max knows the pedigree.
So I ain't gonna hold you.
Listen, we gonna be like,
but the followers, but the listeners,
we gonna be in season 5 before
the watchers. But listen, the watchers, they might want to, see you turn up. You know what I'm saying? So
Maybe when we do the second edition of the fashion episode, we'll turn up.
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll turn up.
I'm looking forward to that episode. Oh
yeah,
what you about to say, Jose? What you about to say, Jose?
I'm gonna outstunt both of y'all. Whoa. I'm just saying, bro.
Whoa.
Listen, I can go to the closet right now, bro.
Listen. That's the difference between me and Jose.
No, you can't do that. That's a disqualification. You can't do that.
That's the difference between me and Jose. I never come out here trying to stunt on my brothers. It's not my intention to stunt on anybody. Listen,
I'm keeping it basic.
Only person
he did call me out just now. He did just call me out.
He did. Only person I stunt for is myself. Like if I put my outfit on, I feel good. That's all that matters. I never try to stunt my brothers.
Listen, when I'm really on my best, I'm on my Big Sean closet verse.
In my closet.
That's how I'm coming. Yeah, that's how I'm coming out. You see what I'm saying? That's when
But listen,
I'm at my best.
you should
That's
feel
what it
you
is,
should feel
man.
like you're coming out the closet every day.
Yes.
I'm coming out closet every day. That's how I feel. I don't feel right if I don't feel like coming out. If I'm wearing some balling shorts and a white tee, I feel like I'm coming out the closet.
Shoot, I got some hooping shorts on right now, bro.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, man. Look, man, somewhere as soon as the
But
episode over,
you
we break
you
the bad
can't
boys
go
out.
to the closet. You can't
Bro,
go to
I
the
could go to
closet
I
in the
go to the
middle of the
vault
show.
right now,
That's
bro.
not that doesn't
I
count.
could.
That's a disqualification.
That's
I could
disqualification. You can't do that.
right now, bro.
You know what?
You
That might
can't do
be
that though.
that might be a contest one week. We're gonna have a outfit change mid episode.
All right.
No, that's
We
disqualification.
got
Nah, you can't do
a
that.
new segment. We have a new
This
segment
disqualification.
called In the Closet. You literally
Oh,
you're gonna leave where you are and go change outfits and come back. And we're gonna see who got the best fit. There we go. We're gonna try that one.
Yeah.
In the closet. We're gonna try
man,
that.
y'all got it. I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. Y'all got that one.
We're gonna try it out. You can judge, Max.
I'll judge it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll judge it.
All right. So without further ado, we're gonna hop right into the episode special edition. This is not the Last in Hip Hop podcast. Today, this is the Last in R&B podcast. So we're gonna be paying homage to some classic R&B, some contemporary R&B, and just we're gonna talk about R&B.
That was a
as
bad
whole.
drum roll.
It's listen. We gotta get Questlove on the drums one day.
Right, exactly.
So we're gonna kick it off. We're gonna keep it real informal this week. We're gonna just talk R&B in general. But let's do this. Let's kick it off similar to the real rap episode. Tell us about your oldest R&B memory.
Ooh, I think my oldest R&B memory has to deal with seeing my pop's vinyls or Quiet Storm.
Oh, that'd be a
Quiet Storm. My pop used to play the vinyls, or I know he had a bunch of vinyls, but Quiet Storm, like late night, like you know what I mean. That's like my earliest, before I go to bed. My brother probably play some Quiet Storm. That's when like radio was like, what I mean. That's when radio was it.
You had to go.
So yeah, Quiet Storm. Quiet Storm is my earliest R&B memory.
Bet. How about you, Jose?
My oldest memory would have to be the very first time I heard that Usher My Way. I was trying to brush them waves, put the wave cap on. I'm trying to make sure I'm fresh. Everywhere I came out.
Did you have a derby and a long trench coat?
Yes, sir.
Oh man.
Yes,
My way was
sir.
dope. My way was dope. Yeah.
What about you, Wayne?
I think for me, my oldest R&B memory. My parents are older, so like my dad was 43, my mom was 42 when I was born. So they was listening to a lot of older stuff. So I remember, I don't know why, like being young, I remember being a big, like to this day, matter of fact, like Sam Cooke is like one of my favorite like singers like of all time. Like I love Sam Cooke. So I remember listening to like Sam Cooke. I remember my mom being like real big on like old Motown, like Temptations, Diana Ross and Supremes, Jackson 5. There's so many great. Smokey Robinson. I just remember hearing like all these like the I guess like the Mount Rushmore of like what traditional Motown R&B sounds like. So I came up on a lot of that, and then they have an older brother and sister. So like Kurt said, like My Way, that's probably like one of the oldest memory I have is like being a consumer, like taking in stuff that I understood. But I remember listening to like the Usher, I remember the TLCs, the Jodeci's, and even my older brother and my older sister, like even back to the 80s, like Bobby Brown, Bill DeVoe, and those cats, In Vogue, like all that stuff.
Oh man. Whoa.
So like a bunch of
wow.
like old.
He
like
said
old,
In Vogue.
like,
I ain't hear it.
Yes. Hold on.
In Vogue.
Listen.
I got a memory though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember my cousin Jacinta. She used to get the you know how like back in the day you used to like go to the back of the magazines
Yeah.
and you will order like 10 CDs. You get like 10.
Yeah.
You get
Like a penny.
you get like the Whitney Houston albums. You get the Whitney Houston, the
Oh yeah,
Mariah Carey
Whitney,
joints,
Mariah.
like all the classics. This is like the 90s. Like, you know what I mean? I remember that's a fine memory I had because she used to have all the CDs.
Like
shout out
peak,
to my cousin Jacinta.
Like peak R&B, like 90s. I don't know. It's like something about 90s R&B, man. Like 90s R&B was like a moment in time, yo. It was just like a large influx of like great R&B artists. Like there was like Edgy. Like you think about like Mary J. Blige, Genuine, Montel Jordan. Oh, listen, I don't know how for Boys to Men. Like Boys to Men, listen, my God,
man.
Like there were just so many great. I think that was kind of the inspiration for this episode. I was riding around in the whip earlier this week. And you know, we rap guys, like we hip hop through and through, like
hip hop guy.
The core.
And guess what? Guess what, Wayne? It's funny you said that because this past week was Wu-Tang's Raekwon's and Ghostface.
Yeah,
25th anniversary. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just riding the whip thinking about it, and you know, and us being like rap guys and just hip hop heads, I was just zoning out some R&B, and I just listened to it, and I got to thinking. I was like, you know, if you ask me my favorite hip hop album, but if you ask me like my favorite hip hop albums, like I can name you very concisely and very quickly what my favorite hip hop albums are. Like there's not much wiggle room when it comes to my rap albums. But I started thinking about R&B. I was like, yo, there's so many great projects and great albums that could be in contention for, like, if you were to tell me, like, Dwayne, name your favorite R&B album of all time. Like, I could easily give you a list of 20 records that could compete for, like, my favorite R&B album ever.
Yo, you know who had some classic records? I just thought about H-Town.
Oh yeah, listen, I never was a big H-Town fan though, but they
had some joints though.
But I was more of I was a Jodeci guy. I was a Jodeci guy. Matter of fact, Jodeci, and even after they split, the Casey and JoJo, I was a huge Casey and JoJo fan. Listen,
yeah, like
crazy.
I don't think you can compare.
Crazy. Just listen, man.
Like you got Jodeci. But like H-Town was like they not like, you know what I mean? Like they the dudes, but Jodeci was, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you think of arm, you know that era.
You know, I might be a little biased too, because Jodeci there was some Carolina dudes. It felt like they was your homeboys almost. Cause they was like they're from North Carolina, but it was like, oh, that's like the home team almost when they kind of got on. But then you got to think like Escape.
Yeah. Escape.
702.
You said 702?
702.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yo, 702 was dope.
You remember the Pharrell joint, the Neptune
what?
joint? I Still Love You?
Yeah.
Listen.
Do I?
Listen, that, oh my God.
Yo, that was the...
See, I'm zoning out. I'm zoning, thinking about some of these records.
Yo, that 702, what in the Neptune,
that Neptune?
Oh my God.
That I Still Love You. I Still Love You. Listen, that bass line alone would like kill you. Then when the vocals come in,
we gonna have to.
Like,
no, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna have to do it. I'm already calling for part 2. We just be playing. Listen, part 2, we playing different R&B.
That's why I specifically stripped this episode down, because I just knew we were gonna be rapping about R&B for a minute. And what about Donnell Jones, Mariah Carey, like you mentioned? Oh, what about Next? Remember Next with
of course, Next. What's my man? Dang, what's my man from Chicago? What's my man from Chicago? Dang.
New or old?
My man,
New cat.
Okay.
You know what? They're like in Chicago, though, man.
It's what's my man from Chicago? You know who I'm talking about, Wayne. I can't think, but I got the song playing in my head. As I remember the video. I got the video.
I was about like, we're not gonna talk about the man that shouldn't be mentioned.
Who that? Oh, my man. Oh, you got to talk about Cutz. You got to talk about Cutz.
Hey, you said it. You said it, not me.
Nah, don't do that.
Listen,
don't do that,
hey,
Dwayne.
No, you know what?
No. This is we not going to do.
I ain't gonna do it though. You know why? Because I've always been a proponent for. I can't rock with what he did as a person, but as far as his musical genius, like he's probably the greatest R&B artist of his generation, easily.
Oh,
hands
yeah,
down.
Hands down.
Legend. What?
Hands down.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I noticed too how, especially like on with that, like, say if somebody get in trouble, we just like, we erase, like they never, we erase what they did to the culture.
You know what's interesting though?
Mm-hmm.
With him, I think, and it might be a testament to his genius. Like, I feel like a lot of people are easily canceled, but when R. Kelly names come up, it's like an internal struggle. It's like, oh, I can't rock with what you did.
He's human,
but
like everybody else. He's human like everybody else.
But this 12 play is so damn good.
He's human, like everyone else.
But yeah, he's definitely responsible for some stuff.
Hold up, hold up, Wayne. Hold up. Before we go further, I gotta think of my man. Oh, what's my guy name from Chicago? Who had that song? Oh man, I gotta look it up.
He gonna pop out a minute. I'm trying to think who else.
Because I'll be mad. I can't do that. I can't just leave it like that.
There's so many greats though, man. Like, and this is the '90s. Like, and you gotta think like early Destiny's Child, like literally cut from the same cloth as In Vogue. Like, and this crazy part. Like, you could take Destiny's Child. If you take that as just by itself, like Destiny's Child body of work, like that's a classic. That's like a timeless piece of work by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Beyonce spin off on her own and become this superstar in her own right. So it's like, man, like it's just so much. And then we got Aaliyah.
Yes,
Aaliyah, another amazing artist.
Think about the dudes that's like, it just came to my mind, the dudes that were like always under the radar but gave you bangers.
Oh yeah,
I want to get y'all a statistic too, real quick. So on Spotify, R. Kelly is in so much trouble, but he still has 5,166,514 monthly listeners. Yeah. So he canceled, but he's still getting.
But hey,
you can't deny the albums.
And you know what's crazy too? Like when this stuff kind of came up again, like when the documentary came out, which I still haven't seen. When the documentary and all that stuff came back out, like the streams skyrocketed because it made people like, yo, let me go listen to these joints again. Like it just put him back in the forefront once again. But I mean, again, I think the man makes amazing music.
Nah, he's great. He's a legend, and it's nothing. You can't take that away from him. He's human. Everybody's human. You know what I'm saying?
He definitely is. So then the '90s, what else? Then I think it's so many people, yo.
Yeah, like, it's so many though. Like I can't even it's so many names. We can just go down the list.
I feel like I'm gonna do somebody a disservice by leaving them out.
I just did. I know my.
Oh,
I just did.
Matter of fact, you who somebody I brought it up, but under the radar cats. Remember Soul for Real, Candy Rain.
Mm-hmm.
See,
they were so many great
this might be.
I got another for you. 112.
112.
112.
Yo, it was my joint, the 112 and Zane. Remember Lil Zane? Lil Zane, the 112. That was my joint. What's the name of that song, Kurt? What's the name of that song, man?
What's it? Yeah, I can't remember. I know you're talking about.
I can't remember.
I can't remember it either.
I can't remember the name
I
of the
can't
record.
remember it.
The
Man, you
112
trying to
feet to
throw me
Lil
under the
Zane.
bus, like, yo,
He definitely did.
Nah, I
you bought
thought
the
you
Lil Zane
knew.
CD, you
He
should know,
definitely
like,
had that CD. You had a CD.
You definitely did. One of y'all bought that Lil Zane CD.
I
Nah,
bought
Kurt
One
bought
of
the
y'all
Lil
I
Zane.
did.
remember that
Kurt bought the
joint.
Lil Zane album.
Nah,
Kurt
you
bought
bought
the
that Lil
I
Zane
did.
CD.
Kurt
I
bought the
did.
That
Lil
was
Zane.
a classic record.
Hey, Lil Zane was hot though. Speaking of 112 on Bad Boy, Carl Thomas. Carl Thomas, Faith Evans. You know what though? This goes without. You don't hear this a lot. Bad Boy goes down as this great hip hop label,
Mm-hmm.
but like Bad Boy is responsible for some amazing
Total.
R&B product. Some great R&B came out of
Go
Bad
ahead.
Boy
Let's
in the
talk
era.
about it.
Like,
I'm gonna give you two wild cards. Two wild cards.
Who that?
Tyrese, Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Listen, I had a conversation with
James is a
somebody
beast,
on
bro.
Friday,
James is a
and I
beast.
was just asking her, like, she brought up Tyrese and Jamie Foxx. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't really feeling Jamie Foxx, but you know, Tyrese.
No,
but,
hey, speaking,
Jamie got some
I'm glad you said that,
bangers.
Jose. I'm glad you said that because listen,
That's a good point. Shout
I
out to you.
remember Jamie Foxx. I remember the album came out, Unpredictable.
yes.
I remember when it came out, and in my head I was like, can Jamie Foxx produce a full R&B project seriously?
Yes.
And I remember getting the record and just being like record after record after record after record, being like, my God, like this is a like R&B through and through. Like it's an amazing project, yo. Like from top to bottom, like.
Come on, so let's talk about it, man. Let's go there. Nah, wait, hold on. Listen, let's be real. The show is called Labs and Hip Hop.
We last in R&B with that.
We Labs and R&B. It might be this might be a series. We playing different R&B joints. What's up?
Yo, we We almost will have to do eras, yo. Because like you got all these different eras. Because if we think about like Motown, right? That's in my opinion is almost like the R&B foundation for everything else that came from there.
Yo, we gonna have to go back to Frankie Lyman and them.
Listen, it's kind of Frankie Lyman. Then you got to think about.
What I'm saying?
Listen, you got to think about the like guys like responsible like Berry Gordy, Quincy Jones.
We going back.
Responsible for years and years. And listen, let's go back for another Ray Charles.
Yes.
Ray Charles. Listen, I'm a huge Ray Charles fan. Ray Charles has some bangers.
Let's talk about it.
Bangers. Listen, and then you got to think about like these albums were so great, and it way predates like all this other stuff. Listen,
yo, I ain't gonna lie.
And this is what I think about too. And it's almost a bigger testament. These guys' music was so timeless, it transcended race. Like it transcended color lines. It's like, you know what? White people dismiss racism so this man can come perform for them. Like, you know what? I don't care that he's black. He about to perform this joint.
I'm gonna be honest. Yo, I'm a hip hop dude through and through.
Listen, you know how I get down, man. You already know.
I'm just thinking about all the art. Like as we're talking, I'm like, yo, I'm in awe because I'm thinking back, like, yo, that was a banger.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like I'm on my R&B joint now. I'm on my R&B joint right now. Let's get it, man.
And think about all the like not even heavyweights. Just think about Motown, like the brand of Motown, right? Think about how many, not even just like hit records. We're talking about like legendary like status artists that have come out of Motown, yeah. Like artists that just like pioneers. Like people hold them up. They be like, this is what you say. What is R&B? You could pull almost any artist off Motown's roster back then and say this is R&B music. Marvin Gaye, Temptations, Supremes, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson is a product of Motown. The greatest artist. The artist about the greatest
artist. But I'm saying, let's not forget let's not forget his brothers.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. The Jackson 5 was a product of Motown. Without
it's
Motown,
two.
listen, without
The
no
whole
Motown,
family.
without Motown, there is no Michael Jackson. Like the greatest artist, arguably ever, the greatest entertainer to ever set foot on this earth is a product of Motown. Detroit, Michigan.
Right.
Listen, listen.
Shout out to the Knicks.
Listen, Michael Jackson from Gary, Indiana, yo. Like these people coming from like, you're like, yo, where are you finding these cats? Like people like coming from nowhere with all this immensely
But you know,
R&B talent.
we watch those those biopics. You see like they always go through like those small towns, like the Traveler had that bus.
And listen, think about all the classic R&B voices, right? Just those classic like David Ruffin has like one of
Dwayne, can I
the
make it?
yeah. Go ahead.
And like I was saying is, in my personal opinion, can we give Drake some type of credit when it comes to blending R&B and hip hop? And the reason why I say this is, I remember going to Benedict, and there was just some guys, they weren't listening to no R&B. It was just straight rap. And I felt that Drake's movement was so powerful. I seen dudes singing So Far Gone in the car, bro. I'm talking about like, it
real
was like
talk.
a whole transformation, bro.
Real talk.
It's like niggas went from rapping Cameron Sucker the Knot with Wayne to fucking,
It's a Drake.
I'm talking about completely whole different lane. Niggas singing, bro.
I'll say this. I'll say this.
Successful.
Players, Omegas.
I'll say
Big
this.
niggas, bro.
I'll say this. Drake definitely made it comfortable and okay for dudes to be like to get in on like the R&B tip. Now, speaking of So Far Gone though, I think one of the biggest reasons and one of the biggest contributors to Drake's success is the record with Trey Songz. Yeah, another R&B artist.
Man, that video was fire too.
Like
what's the name of that song?
Video was amazing. Successful.
Yeah, successful.
So we gotta think.
But you know what I was thinking about?
At the time, what's it?
I was thinking about that record that nobody knew about Drake at the time, but Trey Songz featured Drake, or Drake was featured.
Oh yeah,
remember that joint?
Replacement Girl.
Yeah.
Replacement Girl, yeah.
That was on the first mixtape, Comeback Season.
That was on Comeback Season, yeah. That was on Comeback Season. But you know what though? If we look back, Trey Songz really helped establish Drake in the industry. Like we look back at old Trey Songz videos, like you could catch a lot of Drake cameos in Trey Songz earlier records. Like you could tell that they had met and they had established some type of rapport. Like so, Trey Songz was actually looking out.
Yeah,
I think Trey Songz has a big hand in a lot of Drake's early success.
I think so too. I definitely agree.
So
you're saying?
Let me say this: how do we feel about Trey Songz? Since we have the R&B discussion.
Trey,
I like him. It's just like when I ask women like conversations like about Trey Songz, it's just like he's not there. He's not the guy.
No.
I would say this. I'll say this.
Trey's that guy.
Listen, I'll say this. Trey Songz, I hate to say it. When I think about Trey Songz, he doesn't have, his records aren't quite as impactful as a lot of these guys I've been mentioning earlier. Like now, when I look back at it, like his first album, in my opinion, his first album was great. Like he had a lot of people in the industry were like really getting behind this dude. Like really, I think the strength of it was his voice. Like he had a nice singing voice. Like it was very, to me it was very traditional. But to me it was just a good album. Like Just Gotta Make It. It's like at the time when it came out, it was probably one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, great song.
Some great records. I would say this: my two favorite Trey Songz albums are Just Gotta Make It and Ready. Like those two records were like, in my opinion, were like his best project. Say what? Say again, Max. Now, what you say, Max?
having conversations like this with women in general, they would put Tyrese higher than Trey Songz.
Wow.
And I was kind of surprised by those conversations.
But you know what though? You know what though? And hearing that, I think Tyrese catches it a lot because Tyrese has ventured into other things that he's good at. Like he's ventured to acting, like he's done some other things. But I think when Tyrese was just an artist, like Tyrese was a great R&B artist. He has a great voice. Like he made great projects. He made like he was a very solid artist before he ventured out into the acting thing. I don't know if Trey Songz like is as big as it is. Not even big, but I don't know. I don't even know if he's necessarily on. I don't
yeah, like if we talk about catalog, we talking about like great projects.
In my opinion, like Tyrese's first two projects were great albums.
How many great projects or albums does Chris Brown have?
And Chris Brown's a tricky one too because when Chris Brown comes out, he comes out. It's weird because he comes out as I won't say a child star, but he has this demographic where he has a lot of young listeners. So it's definitely R&B because it's still those elements are still there.
Okay, I see where you're going.
But parts of the album come off as it's still a good album. It comes off as it's tailored for a certain audience. Parts of it. But I think the good thing about Chris Brown, though, Chris Brown has always been a transitional artist. Like he's always been able to transition into something that I think Chris Brown is constantly experimenting and say, okay, what can I do now? In my opinion, Chris Brown may be one of the most talented young R&B artists in the game right now because I don't know if there's anything that he can't do musically. Like he could do R&B, he could do house, he could do hip hop, he could do R&B, he could rap. Like Chris Brown can like if you give it to him, like I think like we had a conversation about like we had the conversation about geniuses and like being kind of off. Like Chris Brown is this troubled kid, a lot of people say at that times, but you look at him like he's this super talented, super like genius level type guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like if Chris Brown wanted to do a country album, I have 100% confidence that he could pull it off.
I think right. He can do everything. Like Chris Brown can do everything.
So Chris is like he's like a genre blender almost. Like so I think he is.
Yeah. That's a good point.
He's a huge R&B artist.
That's a great point. You can't just put him in one box.
He's not pigeonholed.
He's an R&B artist, but So can we label him as traditional R&B or he's just like a genre?
He does so much.
He crossed the board.
But he can do.
He can't be labeled just as R&B. He can't be boxed in just R&B.
I would say it's true. Some cats, it's hard to put them in a box because it does. I don't know what it sounds like. I think the difference with Chris Brown is when I listen to his records, I know exactly what it sounds like. But because he could do so many things, I can't put him as a person in one box. But does he do traditional R&B? He does that. But does he also he does house? He does rap. He does hip hop. Like he does a lot of things, but traditional he can do traditional R&B very well.
Like if we're talking Usher, Chris Brown, like
but you know what? Even Usher later
and not comparing.
Oh, definitely not comparing. But even Usher later in his career, he started experimenting with the house stuff. But I think because of artists like Chris Brown and a lot of guys who was out, they were experimenting with it. I think it kind of forced Usher's hand. Like, you know what? It's like sink or swim. I need to do this, or I'm gonna just be stagnant. You know?
Right. Yeah. You go with the game. You go with the game. If you're at a certain point, you're going with the game. You know what I mean? If the game is going towards a more pop country sort of, you know.
But I would say Chris Brown can do it. He could do pop. He could do house. He could do traditional R&B.
He could do everything.
He does it all. He does it all.
Yeah, he does it all. But
there's one guy.
The reason why, go ahead. But let me make this point, though, Kurt. The reason why I brought up Usher's name because we will fit Usher as being more traditional R&B.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
That's you know what I mean.
But then I think it's because of the area he comes up in too, though.
Right. Exactly.
Usher comes into the game in a very traditional R&B time period. And I think Chris Brown, when Chris Brown debuts, he debuts into an environment where we're coming on the tail end of that. So like,
right,
R. Kelly's, the Ushers are on the tail ends of their peak, so to speak. And then we kind of go into a space where you have these young influx of young cats coming
the charts,
like B2K, Amarion, like young cats like coming in and making.
Yeah, there you go. He
comes in. And there's one guy that you're missing, Wayne. And what's crazy is, do you remember Mario?
Mario, yes.
That was on my mind.
Yes.
Another young cat.
That's a good one.
So really think about it. That's almost like that's like that time period. So you had like an influx of these young cats who were kind of labeled as like not child stars, so to speak, but they definitely had a younger audience. But even with Mario, like he had a younger audience, but like I would classify Mario as a traditional R&B artist. Like his music was definitely like Braid My Hair, Kissed a Friend. They had traditional R&B sound.
Omarion solo projects.
Listen, I don't care what nobody say. Was a R&B banger.
Yo.
Hey, you know another one? I'm gonna go on. Listen, and y'all know I'm a rap guy. Listen, don't judge me for this, y'all. B2K second album.
Listen.
What was it called? Pandemonium?
Yes.
2K second album. Listen, this is what I'm telling you about B2K. B2K was hiding R&B bangers underneath like pop singles. They would put out these pop singles, but if you get into the meat of the album, they were spitting these amazingly written R&B records. But when I found out, because I'm a music head, so I like to know behind the scenes. I want to know who produced it. I want to know who wrote these songs. So I was going through the liner notes, and like every song, Robert Kelly.
Get out of here.
R. Kelly wrote the entire album.
Get out of here.
As a matter of fact, if you look online, when B2K did the reunion tour, and this around the time R. Kelly was going through that heat. If you go online and look at the reunion tour, Marion puts out a statement that says, once the tour is over, I'm retiring these records from my set because I don't necessarily want the legacy of what R. Kelly has done to be tied to what I do.
Come on.
But I know I get it though because like think about it.
I get it too though.
From a PR perspective,
it's a nightmare.
If I see somebody catching all this flack and people are, if I can see that I'm doing something that's going to alienate my fan base because of an association with somebody a working relationship I had with somebody, and me knowing that I have a long career outside of this, and this is just a small. Because you think for Marion, right? B2K is a very small window of what he's done. I wouldn't put my longevity on the line for the sake of me performing songs that this man wrote for me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's why I get it. But again, like looking at the album, that was a great album. But again, it goes back to the writing. Like that was a great album. So B2K second album and Omarion's first album was solid R&B project.
You know what? I gotta say this again, man. Coming to this episode, I was like, yeah, it's all good, whatever. But as soon as it started, man, we started. Oh man, I'm like, I'm in awe. Like right. I want more. Like I if we could play some hits now, man, I'd like, man, like that'll icing on the cake.
Yo, I want to give you two wild cards.
What's up?
You got another wild card?
2 wild cards, 2 more.
You've been on point. Yo, listen.
Listen. Hold on.
Shout out to you, Jose. You've been on point. Listen. You've been on point. You've been asking good questions.
The first one is a wild card for sure. The second one's kind of a reach. But y'all, listen. John B.
Oh, yeah. John
hey, listen.
Easy.
And I'm going to tell you, the second one is a reach. But do y'all remember Sammy?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sammy,
No, listen.
he came up. Sammy came up in
reach.
that
He came in the
Scream
era
Tour
too. That
era.
ain't no reach.
Yes.
That ain't no reach.
Wait, we gonna call it
that
the
ain't no
Scream
reach.
Tour era.
Yeah, hey, listen, the Scream Tour era, they were a lot of young, I got another for you. Another wild card.
Well,
Not quite, because his content was a little more. His content wasn't as childlike, but he's around the same age. Lloyd.
ooh.
Lloyd. His content was a little more adult.
That's
His
my
content
guy.
was a little more adult, but he's around the same age. He came around the same time. Lloyd.
Yo.
Listen, I don't care what nobody else.
Yeah, I'm done for the night.
Lloyd had one of the most unique voices for a young R&B cat. Like he reminded me. It took me back to like that traditional, like that Motown sound. Like he had the falsetto, that light falsetto voice.
Listen. That 8-ball MJG featuring Lloyd. What's the name of that? Oh my God.
Listen, them Lloyd features. Lloyd was knocking them out of the park. Oh, how about
Lloyd
this?
features was mean.
Listen, remember the Lloyd Ashanti joint, Southside?
Yes.
Listen,
Yo.
you know I hate that Lloyd got tied up in that whole Murder Inc. Deal. Like he was like I think Lloyd was about to take off into like the
throw away the business. But you see like when the business starts to get in, it takes away from the artistry. Like,
and you think about it, like for Lloyd, I really feel bad for Lloyd, because Lloyd was almost like yo, this ain't even got nothing to do with him. Like,
but time and time, but we see the business side always coming against some great music, some great artistry, bro. Like it never fails. Never fails.
You know what? Speaking of Lloyd, I've always been a fan of male artists, male R&B artists who have like falsetto voices. Yo, I've always loved Frankie Lyman.
Mm-hmm.
I love Lloyd. I've always been a fan of Slim from 112. Raphael Sadiq from Tony. I've always loved like male singers who sing in this high pitched falsetto tone. I'm a big fan of The Dream. Like all these like these cats with these light voices, like
Dream.
Their voice. Yo, you remember the record falsetto? You remember that record?
Yes.
Yo.
Hey, that was my jam, yo. That was my jam.
You know who made me fall in love with R&B in the late 2000s?
Yeah.
When I heard The Weeknd's voice, it was so unique. It was different.
Hey, listen.
Who is this?
I'm gonna tell you something
different. When I heard The Weeknd's voice, I'm like, whoa.
I'm gonna tell you something about The Weeknd. I'm gonna tell you something about The Weeknd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you something about The Weeknd. Listen, when Weeknd first came out, like when Trilogy came out, like the Trilogy, the first 3 projects,
mm-hmm.
I loved it. Loved Trilogy, right? The first album, wasn't a big fan, and I'll tell you why. When I would hear The Weeknd, I would always say, if you've heard one Weeknd song, you've heard them all. I would tell you when I became a Weeknd fan. When Beauty Behind the Madness comes out.
Ooh! Hey, that's on my list.
I was like, yo.
That's on my list.
Listen, I've always been hypercritical of The Weeknd, but when Beauty Behind the Madness came out, I was like, yo, I know what I said about The Weeknd, but this album right here is timeless work. And for me, it was the first time he kind of stepped out the box and like, you know what, I'm about to do some different stuff. But Beauty Behind the Madness, Starboy, and what's even the last joint he just did, yo, like he's been on fire lately, like just knocking them out the park. Like The Weeknd's great. Weeknd's great. I love Weeknd. I got another one for you, Kurt. And he's kind of a genre blender too. Ty Dolla $ign.
Yes.
He's another cat with the light falsetto voice. Like yo, like I like. What
and he's a great writer too. He's a great writer.
Yeah, great writer, great writer, great producer. Oh, you know who else I'm a big fan of? Since we're going more contemporary, and I think this guy gets left out of the conversation a lot. Miguel.
Miguel is tough.
Miguel, listen.
Miguel is tough.
Miguel's first project, R&B masterpiece, and then what's some other joint? Kaleidoscope Dream. Listen, Miguel has some like Listen, when I heard Kaleidoscope Dream, I was like, yo, this right here is like, yo, this is stupid, dumb, amazing. There's some other cats too.
Miguel
Listen,
is
what about Bryson Tiller Trap Soul?
Trap Soul.
Woo!
Trap Soul is like one of my favorite projects. When Trap Soul came out, listen, when Don't came out, Don't.
Oh my God.
Listen. Bryson Tiller made me buy back into R&B. I was like, you know what? I have faith for traditional R&B when Tiller came out.
You know, it's funny you say that because I noticed when he came out with like people, because a lot of rumblings like R&B isn't, you know, a lot of people talking about R&B isn't that of the past. R&B isn't, you know, like how it was, but you know, you start seeing people start making U-turns when Bryson came out.
Like Bryson
right
came
around
out,
that time when
it
people
was like a little moment. Trying to think like who else. It's a lot of cats. Since we're talking more contemporary, it's another cat that I'm a huge fan of. And listen, he comes from the tree of our guys. He comes from the good music tree.
Mm-hmm.
John Legend.
Yes.
John Legend is as traditional as they come. Love John. Listen, there isn't a John Legend project that has come out that I haven't been in love with. Yo, every single. I'm a true fan of John Legend. Anything. Listen, John Legend is my equivalent to, I would say, he's my equivalent to Kanye West. When John Legend puts an album out, he's gonna get the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to cop it like almost immediately. Because I'm that big of a fan.
Are you saying? So you're saying John Legend is your favorite R&B artist of all time?
I'm not gonna say all time, but as far as consistently, like I trust that John Legend is gonna give me like
he's gonna give you what you want. He's gonna give you what you want.
He's gonna give me. He's never let me down. He's always giving me exactly what I'm looking for. Even more so than Kanye. Because there's been Kanye projects I went out and got, and I'm like, this ain't quite what I wanted. I mean, I still like it, but it's not quite what I wanted.
Right.
With John Legend, I have never had that experience.
That's what it's
Legend,
like.
I've never had that experience. It's always been exactly what I wanted.
So what you know what, in we had a conversation, we were talking about foreign exchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's certain like songs, whether it's hip hop, genre across the board, we talking about R&B, it's like you start to compare as the older you get, you're not going out, on a website, you know how we used to do, just
you ain't digging like you used to.
You ain't digging like how you used to. So now what I do, I start to compare a lot of what I listen to now to the songs of the past, the music of the projects of the past, to gauge it. Like, oh, this is tough. Like, oh, this is it right here.
Listen, and that's what inspired this kind of. I was listening to some joints, and I was like, yo, like, and I was listening. I'm like, yo, some of these projects. I was listening to it. I was like, you know what? If you were to ask me, like, what's my not rap, like, you would ask what my favorite album was. Like, these albums would be in contention for like my favorite album ever.
Right.
Like, and they're R&B records, like straight up R&B records. Man, but let's do this. Let's discuss some records, and this just popped in my head. Some records that aren't necessarily labeled, because we had this conversation a little bit, just going back and forth about what's going to go on our list for our top 5 today. Let's talk about some records that aren't necessarily categorized as R&B, but push the boundaries of that. So the one in particular, Jose brought it up, so I'm gonna bring it up. In particular, Love Below, Andre 3000.
Yes.
Like,
and then
it's very minimum rap. And I brought up Miseducation.
Mm-hmm.
So records that aren't categorized as R&B records, technically,
more so hip hop, like they
but
between hip hop and R&B.
But listen, this crazy part, man. This is why they did, and this is why I struggle with it, because those 2 albums specifically, I'm not even sure how much of a tweener it is, because the rap on it is minimal. Like, there's some great verses on Love Below, but it's very minimum. Like, it's like 2-3 records where like Dre is rapping. The rest of it is like soul, like traditional R&B soul, like Prototype is a soul record.
Amazing.
Pink and Blue. Pretty pink, baby. Listen, those are traditional. They're like blues. And Andre is notorious for it. Like a lot of his records are like blues records. Even on Idlewild. What's the joint called? Idlewild. What was the record called? I can't think of what the joint was called. It was a single, matter of fact.
I know what you're talking
Don't
about.
call me baby blue.
Yes.
Don't call me midnight blue. What was that record, yo? That's like listen, that's like traditional blues. It sounds like B.B. King. It's like a traditional blues record. So you have these tweeners. So like Miseducation, like you think about like there's verses on there, but like Lauryn Hill is flexing like her R&B muscle. Like I'm the R&B vocals on this album are carrying the album. Like yeah, there's some dope vocals on there, some dope verses on there, there's some bars there, but like the most memorable parts of the record were like her singing her heart out. Yeah,
I'm gonna give you two records that I really like, and they're borderline rap, or they're really R&B, but some people might consider them rap. That Andre 3000, I Think I'm in Love. Oh my God!
Listen, yes.
Listen, that's bro. You can pull up somewhere with your shorty.
Baby.
I'm talking about back in the day. Y'all just sitting down chilling, had that shit real low.
Listen,
had that shit low in the background. Like
I'm already thinking about part 2, man. I'm already thinking about part 2.
Do you remember the record called with Drake?
Which one?
When So Far Gone, a little bit. He's like, a little bit in love with you.
Yeah,
listen, I heard grown men singing that. Grown ass big buff niggas, bro.
Listen, man. You go ahead.
Who was on that record with him?
It started with a J. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
But listen, I used to love that joint, yo.
I did too.
I used to love that joint a little bit.
Is Morris Brown the tweener?
It kind of is, yeah. Like it's a lot of records, man. Oh, listen, you know what my joint was? This is when I knew I was a Drake fan, yo. And it's a tweener too. What's the record called? What's it called?
Is Morris Brown the tweener?
Morris Brown's the tweener.
You heard me, Wayne?
Yeah, Morris Brown.
Her name was Like Lee.
Yeah, that's it.
Her name was Like Lee. That was her name.
That was my joint. But listen, the Morris Brown's different. Yeah, Morris Brown's a tweener. It's a tweener. Because matter of fact, you know who's on Morris Brown? Listen, I love this cat, right? I hate he didn't do more. Scar, listen, Scar's voice was dumb. Matter of fact, on Purple Ribbon All Stars, there's a record with Scar. Like there's a solo record from Scar on there. I can't remember what it's called, but that joint used to go in, man. But listen, I'll tell you when I became a fan of Drake. When I became a fan, it was prior to So Far Gone. It was on Comeback Season. It was a joint with Dwelle, with another great R&B artist, Neo Soul. We'll discuss Neo Soul in a minute. Dwelle.
Yo, we might need to do a Neo Soul show.
So listen, Drake featuring Lil Brother and Dwelle. Don't You Have a Man?
Oh my God!
Don't you have a man? Don't you got a man?
Yo,
listen, oh my God!
Yo, I know I'm a hip hop guy, but I'm
about to look for that beat. I'm looking for that beat tonight. True.
Listen, that was my jam, yo. But that's what made me think about this, yo. I'm like, some of my favorite connections to rap artists are based off of like either R&B infused joints or like either samples or features. But again, that's why I'm glad I brought Dwelle. Dwelle is another great underground R&B. Let's talk about let's jump straight to Neo Soul. So that's discussed because
Music Soul Child.
We missing Music Soul Child. We mentioned Erykah Badu,
Jill Scott,
Maxwell, Bilal.
Bro, I had a crush. Listen. I used to play Music Soul Child. I had a crush on the AKA.
Oh my God!
Say those names.
Stop it!
Listen, yo. Listen.
I know who she is. I know who she is.
I know who she is too.
I think I had a crush on her.
We ain't gonna do this. We ain't gonna do
Shout out to the homie. I ain't gonna do it.
We know who you
I
are.
said too much.
Hey, I'm saying that. Listen, that's her,
Yo,
that's her
listen.
name. Does her name start with a J?
Hey,
Does it start with a?
No, don't do it. Listen. I'm gonna do it.
Don't hear me out like that. She might have went to USC, so I'm good.
I had to take my glasses
Listen,
off.
y'all don't.
She ain't go to
She's
USC. She ain't go to USC.
No, she ain't going to USC.
Listen, she might have went to University of South Carolina.
No, bro. We know what she is.
Hey, she's a smart girl.
It's up in the air. She might have went to University of South Carolina.
Bro.
She's a smart girl.
We gonna call this the R&B episode.
Listen, you know who you are. I had to take my glasses off for that. You know who you are.
Yes, she knows who she is.
But I'm gonna leave it there.
Hold up. That's the topic for another day. Listen.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna lie. Listen, because a lot of these songs, I have clear memories. There a lot of them are tied to girls I was pining for at the time. But listen, Music Soul Child though, listen, even before we got to college, like the first album, listen, Chester Friend, listen. Oh, this is my joke. This is one of my favorite songs to this day. Love.
Yes.
Listen, listen, I don't care what nobody says. One of the best written R&B records of all time, in my opinion.
Yo, I used to play them joints going to the cash.
I used to love them joints. But you gotta think how early that came out though. Love came that first album came out. Like 2001, 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, you gotta think even with that, right? Think about that. That album came out. We were in high school, like early high school, and you were still rocking with that album well into college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo.
Y'all remember that guy? Y'all remember Ruben Stutter?
I'm saying though, so the album came out like early 2000.
Hold on, Kurt.
I'm glad you said that,
Yes.
Curtis. Ruben is an underrated. Listen, Ruben's first album, that first album. Listen, with the I'm Sorry 2004. This is not sorry for 2004, and I ain't gonna mess up no more.
And listen, this guy, I don't want to mention his name because he was really high. Jaheim was way up here, bro.
Jaheim.
I don't know.
I got another one. I got another one that fell off. Jaheim, Life Jennings.
Oh my God.
Life Jennings.
Jennings, bro.
Yeah,
the fall from grace.
When you think of Jaheim, you think of Life Jennings for some odd reason.
You know what though? I thought about Jaheim one day, right? And I was listening to it. And y'all know me. I'm the guy who always re-examines stuff from back in the day that I used to love and be like, this is toxic too. You remember what was the joint, yo? Hold up, I gotta find it. Oh man. What's the Jaheim record? Like, was it called One Last Time? What was the joint called, yo? No, Just in Case. Just in case. I'll make you home tonight.
Yo, you know who I was talking about?
To you for the last time,
oh
baby.
yeah,
Wayne. You know who I was talking about? You know my man from Chicago?
Who that?
But I'm talking about David Hollister.
Remember
David Hollister?
Yes. Oh no, I forgot somebody else too.
Who that?
Gerald Levert.
And you forgot
and his pop, the Levert.
And you forgot Tank.
Yo.
Tank.
Yes.
Listen,
Gerald Levert.
Tank's still doing it. Tank's still doing it too. That's the thing back. Straight thing back. I'm trying to think, yo, who else? Say what?
Ignored you, nigga. It was over with.
Oh man, I'm trying to think who else. So who's leaving out, yo? It's a lot of cash, yo.
Jose, I got one better for you. Or the or the R&B artist she wanted to be with.
Oh, listen, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, man.
Yeah, I mean, forget who she really wanted to be with. Like,
jarred a memory. I got one for you. A. Marie.
Ooh.
Listen, I was in love with A. Marie.
Listen. That's before. Listen. before we go on that top 5, I got some. That was gonna be my surprise. But go ahead, that was gonna be my surprise.
But Wayne, name 3 R&B guys. Your past, flames or relationships or girls you talked to, they would just stay to the side.
Chris Brown for sure.
Usher.
Okay.
I ain't gonna say Chris Brown because Chris Brown a little bit younger than us. So I still feel in my head like you leaving for
Joe.
I
still
feel in my head like you leaving for Chris Brown, like you a sucker. Go and leave. But like Usher, like, when I was coming to Usher, I'm trying to think somebody like they're gonna leave you. Like
Tyrese, but wait, you got
Tyrese. They leave you.
Tyrese for sure.
I'm about to give you my 3 right now. D'Angelo.
You
was out of there. You get out of there, bro. She cheating on you. D'Angelo. Omarion. He dancing in the rain doing his spins. She leaving you. Out of there. Out of there.
Oh man.
And then my 3rd one, I'm probably gonna pick Trey Songz, bro. Trey Songz, bro. You see a lot of guys' dreams got messed up with Trey Songz, bro. A lot.
Yo,
he was gonna smash your girl, bro. Like I don't care.
Get him out of there.
Let's do this. Let's jump to some super contemporary cats. We're gonna do this. We're gonna hit some contemporary cats, like dudes who are doing it now. Then we're gonna move into our false narrative, which kind of flows with what we've been talking about. Then we're gonna hit the top 5 my favorite R&B albums. So let's look some of the contemporary cats. Like,
okay,
I'll start because like there's some cats now like who are doing it, like who are really like taking me back to like when R&B was big, really. Like and people who come to mind off top: Jose's Boo, Ari Lennox.
Woo!
Summer Walker.
Yes.
SZA.
Her.
Her.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't left the Jhené Aiko.
Yeah, you better not leave that name off.
I ain't gonna leave out the homies either. We got people like Daniel Caesar.
Okay.
Listen, Jose. When we talk about genre blending, I went here too with my guy. He when he came out, he was definitely a rapper. But like to be honest, the last 2 albums, the last album, I can't remember. Rap is minimum on the last album, but the album prior to that, there was no rap whatsoever. Childish Gambino has been killing the game when it comes to like soul and R&B music.
What about Bruno Mars?
Bruno Mars, another contemporary cat. And even another genre blender. Kurt don't get down with him. What's my guy? Anderson .Paak.
I get down with Anderson .Paak.
And Anderson .Paak, another. He's another guy who blends.
I don't like that coloring book guy. That's what his name. I don't know.
What's his name? Is he a genre blender?
He kind of.
He's more like a genre blender.
He kind of meshes arm. He kind of meshes.
Say his name. Please say his name.
Anderson .Paak. So
not Anderson .Paak. He's talking about the other guy.
Oh no, he's not. No, he's not a blender. He's not a blender.
No, he's definitely not a blender. I don't like that.
Say his name.
Coloring book. That's his name.
Do I say his name?
Kerry.
So he's not. So he's not.
No, I know. Now you say it, man. It kind of is. He kind of
is a genre blender.
It blurs the lines.
He's a genre blur.
he blurs the lines as well. Because when I think about
who are we talking about though? So the followers, fans.
I'm a fan of the guy. Jose is not so much. Chance the Rapper.
Jose, say his name so the listeners can.
I'll say it. Chance the Rapper.
Coloring book guy.
Well, Chance the Rapper. That's not R&B type. That's not.
Jose just brought him up because he does it. He's not, we'll say that topic for another day. Matter of fact, that'll be Jose's false narrative one week coming up.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, those some contemporary cats. So let's move into we shout out some contemporary cats. Let's move into the false narrative. So this is something I've heard a lot, especially now. That I don't think is necessarily true. But I think there's been a shift from traditional R&B, so to speak. But I've heard a lot of cats say this statement, and this is my false narrative, and we're going to dispute that statement today. So today's false narrative is R&B is dead. And I just don't believe that being a true statement.
I disagree.
You disagree that it's dead?
Yeah, I think it is dead. And well, I ain't gonna say like dead.
But this go ahead. This is the reason I say it's not dead. I don't say it's dead because I think people say it. And I know where you're coming from too, Curtis, because I agree what you're saying. I agree with your stance and where you're going with it. I disagree in the fact that some people say R&B dead, and some people truly believe that but I think it's because they don't have their ear to the street, and they're not exposing themselves to cats like Ari Lennox, Summer Walker, even Bryson Tiller, the Scissors, all the young up and coming her people like her, all these underground. Well, not even underground no more. Like they've. You think about Ari Lennox has crossed over. Like she's like Ari Lennox is like young black women's like. She's like America's like she's like that sweetheart. Like she's a champion for young black women, yeah.
You still got the Lizzo, you still got the Lizzo.
And then
so you saying
people like Lizzo, like you have all these artists like who are active, and not only active but have had great success, who qualify and classify as still R&B music. But I think people aren't putting their ear to the street and just saying because it don't feel like 1993. They're quick to say R&B is dead.
And I'm gonna disagree. And the reason why I disagree is because like you gotta think in the 2000s, right? You had a combination of like all the boy bands. So you had like the B2Ks and you had like the Omarions and the Marios. But listen, you still had the not old heads, but you still had the grown R&B, like the Mariah Careys. And you had like the Mary J. Blige. We forgot about Mary J. We forgot about the Mary J. Blige. So we had all those grouped in like at one time. Like boom.
But this is the thing though. If you were an older cat in 2000, 2001, 2002, I feel like they could have made the same statement because B2K sounded nothing like the previous generation.
Yeah,
and they definitely didn't sound like the generation previous to that.
Well, bro, it was a whole bunch of R&B though, bro. You gotta think about.
But I'm saying now, like it's a bunch now.
You had the Pretty Ricky. I was talking about this like the lower level. You had like the Pretty Ricky.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like
a lot of chicks got smashed, bro.
But listen, this is the thing.
Watch your mouth.
This is the thing. This is the thing though.
Come on, you gotta censor that out, man. Come on.
If you were to compare,
kids listening.
No, but I show it explicit. I always label it explicit. Not for the chaps, not for the children.
I ain't biting my tongue, man.
Wu-Tang's for the children. Last thing hip-hop is not for the children.
Yeah, bro.
This guy, he disrespected women. Like, come on.
I made a fact.
He did disrespect. But you're being honest. No, you're being real. But come on, you gotta.
I mean, people were having sex to Pretty Ricky. It was a fact.
A lot of them wanted to be smashed.
Yeah, it was a fact. Like, we can't.
PG rated, my guy.
I'm just saying. People were doing with 12 play. It was happening.
They was doing the do.
Yeah, that was doing the do.
We wouldn't be here either if it wasn't for like Marvin Gaye and Adam Cass.
Yeah.
That's the point. No, you make a great point.
But listen, that's what I'm saying though. Like, I don't think that's the case because if you were to talk about Pretty Ricky in comparison to like a Jodeci or a 112 or R. Kelly or Mint Condition, I would consider that a fall off. But I think it's just a changing of the changing of the guard.
Mm-hmm.
And you had the same thing now because even like you mentioned that time period, like early 2000s, like mid 2000s time, right? We still have legends who are active, but those legends were on the tail ends of their career.
But I'm just saying,
if you think about it,
it was R&B for everybody, bro. You gotta think about it.
But listen,
you had the Justin Timberlakes.
But listen though, that's
R&B.
Oh, we didn't bring up Justin.
We did not bring up Justin.
We'll come back to Justin. But think about it. There's something for everybody now. Like there's this wide range, and look, we still have active.
It's not as wide, bro. But listen. The content and the songwriting is not as strong.
I'm about to challenge you.
Go ahead.
Because Usher is still an active artist.
Mm-hmm.
Tank is still an active artist.
Mm-hmm.
recently, Tyrese, Genuine, and Tank had a collab album recently. That was
Okay.
one of the best albums of the year. So we
Okay.
still have these quote unquote legends who are still active in the current climate. Artists like Joe are still like they're still relatively active, and
Yeah, we
artists
can't
like
forget about Joe.
artists like Kim are
Yep.
still active. Maxwell is still active. Bilal is still active. We have the
Oh my
previous
God,
generation.
that's my
We
guy.
have a large Erica Badu is still active. We have this large influx of artists who came out in the early and mid
So
90s
Aquarians.
who are still, oh my God, who are still, Jill Scott, we have this large influx of artists who came out in the previous generation who still have solid fan bases who are still active in association along with this young influx of new talent. So I think it's just a transition. It's a transitional wave. But again,
Bilal kind of reminds me of like an old school, like one of those old school singers
listen,
coming up in that era.
somebody else I forgot. Seal. Oh my God.
Ooh.
Oh my
I
God.
thought about Sil. Yo, you know what's funny? Because a lot of hold on. You know what's funny? Because I thought about Sil when we were talking about genres being transcended.
Yeah, oh yeah,
yeah.
But I think this goes into it too. Even if you came from the stance of like, okay, R&B is dead, like there is still quality content coming out from even like the previous generation. There's quality content still of listen. If you want, there's a large influx of R&B music right now that you can go out and zone out to today. So I refuse to buy into the stance of R&B being dead. I just can't buy into it.
You gotta think about the quality, like.
But listen,
that's always gonna be a conversation, though. That's always gonna be.
When I'm talking about the songwriting, you gotta think about like people like Whitney Houston and
that's
like
always gonna be a
Mariah
conversation.
Carey.
But listen,
you can't. I don't even think. I'm to the point where you can't compare. I mean, you compare, but it's like
you can compare. You can't compare. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Because Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey launched themselves into like superstar stratosphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I will also say this: if we talk about longevity, artists like Jill Scott and Erykah Badu have had much longer careers and have much longer trajectory, have much longer success. And you think about Whitney Houston, there's a clear fall off because of for whatever reason. Mariah Carey, there's a clear fall off for whatever reason. Erykah Badu has been rocking from the time she came out up until until Erykah Badu decides to hang it up. She's gonna be just as big. Like she's a star now. She's as big of a star now as she's ever been. And there's been no period of time.
There's 4 artists that I haven't heard anybody mention.
But that's an interesting. Oh, I'm sorry.
And the artist is, we didn't mention Beyonce or Destiny Child.
I was just about to, no, wait, I mentioned Destiny Child. I mentioned
we didn't mention Kelly Rowland. We didn't mention Monica.
I don't
we didn't mention Brandy.
But this is the thing, though. Hold on.
You got Kalani
and Brandy just came out.
And you got Kalani and Tiana Taylor.
But think about it though. But let's be real.
There's a lot of
some names. It's names we still missing. But think about it.
We're doing. I got some too. Listen, I meant to mention this too.
Okay.
I like to call this Blue Eyed Soul. Because Justin Timberlake, Robin Thicke, and Sam Smith are some of the coldest brothers in the game, bro.
Listen, can you put Adam Levine in the conversation?
Listen, I wanted to. Because listen,
I want to too.
Because I don't care what anybody says. Maroon 5's first album is a soul album. And I gotta
put Adam Levine in there.
I got another for you.
Yes.
Adele.
Whoa.
Listen, Adele's album.
Whoa.
They're British. They're categorized as British pop. But those albums are soul albums. Adele sounds like she swallowed somebody's black grandmother. That girl can sing her ass off.
Kareem Bailey and Sade.
Kareem Bailey.
And Sade.
I mentioned Sade. Kareem Bailey, yes.
It's gonna be names that that are not going to come
We
up. It
can't. We
is what
can't
it is.
name. We can't name them all, bro. We
You
can't.
can't
And
name
listen,
them all.
you know another
It'll have to be a.
you
It'll
know
have to be a
listen,
continuous.
you know
It'll have to
another
be a
person,
series.
you know another person I want to bring up
Yes.
that who named it won't come up, and it won't come up. You know why? Because they're considered rock, but Lenny Kravitz
Oh.
has one of the best vocally and some of his
Yes.
records. Matter of fact, do y'all remember the record again?
Oh
Lenny
no.
Kravitz
Hold
again.
on.
All of my life, where have you been? I'm wishing that I ever. Oh, listen, bro. That's an R&B record, yeah. R&B record.
Okay.
R&B record. Lenny Kravitz is one of the best R&B artists. I don't care nobody. I don't care if you want to call him rock. Lenny Kravitz is a great R&B artist. I don't care. But there's a lot of
Yeah,
cats.
this
But that's why I
is
refuse.
serious.
That's why I refuse to say I can't say R&B dead because like there's so many active artists, new, old, and in between that are putting out
They're still rocking.
quality R&B content.
Okay.
And I'll say, and this is why I don't stand by it either, because I would say every 5, maybe not every 5, somewhere between 5 and 10 year mark, I get bored with rap,
Mm-hmm.
and I tend to lean toward soul music during those times. So that's why I can't say R&B is dead, really. Oh, you know what? Speaking of rap, a guy I did not mention that I had to mention, CeeLo Green.
Ooh.
CeeLo Green. CeeLo Green.
What
listen,
about
Nars
one of the
Barkley.
biggest.
Dude?
Who?
Devin the Dude.
It's definitely
He's a blender. He's a
He's a
genre
blender.
blender. He's a genre blender.
yo.
He's a genre
Shout out to
blender.
CeeLo, man.
But listen, CeeLo Green, what's my joint? Like the more records he put out, the more projects he puts out, the more like he blurs the lines between what he does. But when my favorite CeeLo project, what's my joint called? Oh, I can't think of the name of the album. The joint with Fuck You on it. What was the album called? Lady Killer.
I forgot. Okay.
Lady Killer, top to bottom, one of the best albums I've ever. And that's why I say it. Lady Killer, top to bottom, one of the best albums I've ever heard. Another
Janelle
project.
Monáe.
I was about to say that. Another project I want to mention, Janelle Monáe, Electric Lady, one of the best projects I've ever heard. Listen, you're literally talking about a project with Prince, Erykah Badu, like so many great features on it. It's like, yo, this album's so stupid, yo.
You just said Prince. We didn't say Prince name all
night.
Prince.
Prince. Easily. Listen. There's so many people.
No, we can't do this.
One of the most iconic folks of all time, Purple Rain.
We coming back.
Yes.
We gotta
Prince in the Revolution. Listen, Prince was so cold, he had to drop his name. He's like, I'm the artist now. Because I'm that cold. Oh, you know what? God. I am so sorry.
It's so many. It's so many. Don't even break it.
No, I gotta say it.
It's so many.
No, I gotta say it because you could argue this guy is one of the greatest of all time. Not even our greatest of all time. One of the greatest R&B artists of all time. But listen, most sampled. Without this guy, we would have no hip hop. I think. God rest the dead. James Brown.
Yes.
James Brown. You know what? Cause listen, there's so many subgenres of R&B. I just not thought about James Brown. Then I thought about Bootsy Collins, funk, Parliament Funkadelic, George Clinton. Like we gotta do episode 2. We gotta
This is just a warm up.
We gotta break this.
We gotta break all this down too.
This is the main reason I want to have this episode because like again, we all are clear cut rap guys through and through. But just like
I'm about to change
the sheer magnitude of the level of artistry we're talking right now, and the fact that there's so much great content, like we're legit like, oh my God, I forgot it. Oh, Alicia Keys.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Bro, I don't even want to be known. Like that's a thing. Like it's like hip hop to the core, but it's like.
Listen.
Let's put R&B in the hip hop too.
But you know what though?
Like, just put it all together.
I've always said this though. The majority of my favorite, outside of a couple, 1 or 2 here and there, my favorite rap albums of all time are heavily R&B influenced or they have these amazing soul samples. And I think that's my connection with Kanye West. Like Kanye West, like his production, like the traditional sped up soul samples, like the original records were so amazing. Cause like I started digging. I was like, yo, when I found out he was sampling, I started doing digging like, well, what records are these? Like, what them hear the original records? And you would hear the original records, you'd be like, yo, like this is like so amazing. I can't believe somebody made it. Like you'd be like, I can't believe somebody made it. And
Yeah,
like,
like when you go look at you go in the crates and dig and see what was the original record.
And I would say this too. And when you go crate digging, because we're mentioning guys for the most part that have had long, successful careers. When we start doing some crate digging, there are a lot of records, a lot of R&B records, and a lot of R&B content that were one-offs from groups and bands that were able to put out these timeless, amazing records and did nothing else after that. Like there's like hours and hours and hours of amazing classic content that goes unnoticed because the artist never popped off on a mass level. Listen, it's definitely gonna be an episode. It's definitely gonna be a part 2.
We definitely definitely gotta be a part 2. It might be a series.
We need to get we might have put this out every so often. It just redig go dig some
and break down some of these albums and break down some of these songs. Is just break down some of these artist stories and
pull some of these samples out.
Yeah, and just analyze.
For real, bro. You know what? I really kind of want to dig in, like go in and dig in some some old stuff, like stuff that predates, like all that. Cause listen, I ain't gonna front. Marvin Gaye. Listen, I don't care what it says. Marvin Gaye is one of the greatest voices, like just period. Like I don't care what nobody says. And then Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, like bro, like those duets were like, and again, records like that. You're all I need to get back. The Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell. It spawned.
Did we forget Rick James?
Rick James.
Did we forget Rick James?
We did.
Oh, listen. Speaking of Rick James, I was in the grocery store today, and Eddie Murphy came on. Party all time. Eddie Murphy featuring Rick James. Party all time. Party all the time. Party all the time. Party all.
That's a classic record.
Oh, you know I forgot. Oh my God.
What's the white chick name that was with Rick James?
Tina Marie. But listen, you know I forgot. I feel like terrible because
we named a lot of people.
Listen, this is one of my favorite groups of all time. The Isley Brothers. Isley Brothers, legends. You're talking about a career, literally, an active career that spanned it like 40, damn near 40 years, bro. Like
they still shaking now.
Listen, real talk, Max. Isley Brothers were in Columbia maybe 2 years ago. They did a master class at Eau Claire, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, man, this COVID thing, man. This COVID thing.
Still got it.
Think about how many people be on the road right now if it wasn't for COVID.
You know it. Listen, my mom went to a Smokey Robinson show like literally like 2 years ago.
See,
still getting it. Oh, oh my God, Tina Turner.
Come on.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we be here. Listen, we'll be here all night, man.
We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back with part 2. Matter of fact, we're gonna do some special episodes. We're gonna break down different generations and just dig into that generation. Like we need we got to do some homework. We rap guys and we keep our ears.
No, I'm definitely.
So we gotta go do some homework because there's some homage that needs to be paid that we're not doing enough service to right now.
We going to though.
We definitely going to. We're gonna get to it. All right, so let's transition this excitement into probably really I would say the most challenging part, but easily the most fun part, compiling this list. And you can just tell from the conversation we had today that this is going to be a battle. So it was a battle trying to get a top 5 R&B albums. I just feel like that would be impossible to try to do. So what we decided on doing when we were trying to compile the list, we decided on doing for my top 5 this week. We're going to do my top 5 favorite R&B albums. and that was hard itself. So I think we have some fun. We gotta have some fun in a minute. We'll kind of dig into it too. We got time, so we'll kind of dig into each individual album. This is a favorite list. I want to give everybody a chance to kind of talk about what the album, what the album means to you, why does it resonate, and because like I think these lists gonna be super personal. I believe.
I think I had it. I put a little twist on it.
Oh yeah.
What I did was
let's start, man. You start.
Yeah. So what I did was ask. My coworker at my job. Her name's Sierra, and
shout out Sierra.
I was like, yo, I'm doing a R&B special on the podcast, and I just asked her because she's always playing we had different conversations about music, and she's always playing R&B. So I was like, yo, give me a top 5 greatest your favorite R&B albums of all time. So this is her top 5. No particular order. Tyrese, go there.
Ooh.
Right. So she had an issue with a couple of them because she didn't know if it was like a first and second one. Like, did she like more? So I was like, yo, give it to me anyway. So Chris Brown Indigo albums.
Oh, that was great. Listen, Indigo was great.
You talk about CD. We talk about CD.
I co-sign. That was great.
It was great.
Okay.
Keep going.
Drew Hill.
Enter the
Drew Hill first and second album.
Oh, first and second. Oh, my
okay.
God.
Trey Songz.
Which
Trey
one?
Songz is Anticipation 2 and Tremaine.
I forgot about Anticipation.
I did
so
too.
I lied. I shitted on Trey Songz earlier. Anticipation was a great project too.
Listen, y'all didn't get CB y'all didn't get CB his due either.
Oh, CB got some joints.
So her last one.
A.
Marie first and second album.
Yes.
Her last one, A. Marie first and second album.
Ooh, that
was pretty cool.
Listen, you naming that list triggered some albums I thought about.
It touched some nerves. It touched some nerves.
This album, I'm gonna throw this out there. It's not on my list, but it triggered something. Maya, Mood Ring, one of the best R&B albums I've ever heard. One of the best R&B albums I've ever heard. Maya, Mood Ring. If you ain't heard it, go get it.
Okay.
Cool. You want to go next, Kurt? Jose?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go next.
All right, go ahead. Go.
Oh, you going?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I go.
Go ahead.
All right, so my list. I have just in general, I have an eclectic palette. Just in general, I tend to lean toward. So my list is more contemporary, I would say. So y'all know how I always do. Like, it's hard for me to make my list. So I have an honorable mention. I always have an honorable mention. So my honorable mention, and this is the album. This is a time when I was kind of anti-rap. So I fell in love with this album, and it kind of pulled me in, and I kind of became a big fan. And I was kind of a fan by association. So one of my favorite rappers is Fonte from Little Brother. So Fonte is associated with a group called Foreign Exchange. So I was already a fan. I'd already heard of it before. The first album. The first album is Fonte rapping over Nicolay B. So it's still traditionally rap. But the second album, Leave It All Behind, Fonte doesn't rap a bar on the album. Listen, one of the greatest soul albums I have ever heard. I would put not even just soul album. This is one of the greatest albums I heard. Just period.
No.
So my honorable mention. It just missed my top 5, but honorable mention: Foreign Exchange, Leave It All Behind, one of the greatest soul R&B albums of this generation, easily. All right, so let's go into my top 5. And these are in no particular order. A guy I talked about in the show earlier, one of those genre blenders. But this album itself, there's no bars on the album, only vocals. It reminds me of when I heard it the first time. I was listening to it. I was kind of in awe. I was just trying to process it as I was listening to it. It was almost like, hey, yo, what am I listening to right now? Like, I'm not even sure what this is. like even to the point where the vocals, I wasn't sure if these were live vocals, were these synthesized vocals. And then when I found out, like they were like, nah, these vocals weren't even tampered with. Like these are the vocals coming out of this man's mouth. Childish Gambino, "Awaken My Love." Highlighted by, listen, the song Redbone alone, amazing record. Redbone, another record, Terrified, amazing record. Like a great vocal range. Stylistically, one of the best things I heard. It's I don't know. It sounds like, the best way I can explain it, it's like taking like Andre 3000 and Bootsy Collins and just smashing them together and then just making this amazing project. So "Awaken My Love," Childish Gambino, 4. Listen, in my opinion, probably the most traditional. This is easily the most traditional R&B record on my list. But in my opinion, one of the goats of R&B of this generation, John Legend. But my favorite album from John Legend, "Get Lifted."
Okay.
To this day, I play "Get Lifted" from front to back like it's a brand new record to this day. Baby, when I used to love you,
Yes.
I said I wouldn't do. Oh my, listen, there's so many classic records on here. The joint with "I Can Change" with Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
Family Business at the end. Listen, bro, it's so many amazing joints. There's so many joints on there. So John Legend, "Get Lifted." All right, these aren't in order, but I'm gonna mention number 3. You can argue this album is the greatest R&B album of all time. You could argue. You could make the statement, and it will hold true. Usher, "Confessions." I would say, in my opinion, the best R&B album to come out in the last 20 years. Well, no, it's not the last 20 years, but it's in contention for one of the best R&B albums to come out in the last 20 years. But listen, the man tells an amazing story, an amazing true story of that. Confessions Part 1, Confessions Part 2, Caught Up, Burn, Yeah, even pop records. A record like "Yeah" with Lil Jon and Ludacris. Listen, Confessions, amazing record. All right, 2. Now these 2 are battling for 1 and 2 on my favorite R&B albums list. Like I keep going back to these 2 constantly, right? But I'm gonna do a number 1. Clear number 1, clear number 2. Number 2, SZA, "Control." From top to bottom.
It's high.
From top to bottom, one of the best piece of R&B work that I've heard ever.
Wow.
It was a big conversation piece. The record with "Love Galore" with Travis Scott, bro. It's I need. Listen, bro. There's so many great records on this. Drew Barrymore, like there's so many great records on this. "Doves in the Wind," bro. Full of amazing records. But I'm gonna go with my number 1 favorite R&B album of all time, and it's kind of traditionalists would not probably go with this album, but in my opinion, one of the best albums I've ever heard, much less R&B albums. Frank Ocean, Channel Orange. Favorite R&B album.
That's high on a lot of people's lists. That's high on a lot of people's lists.
Time. Listen,
you know
records,
that
records like Pyramids. Listen, number 1, Pyramids, the tempo change and the mood change halfway through the record, it's like something I've never heard before. Listen, when the record debuted, I was like, yo, this record is 8 minutes long. Like, who's about to listen? I'm like, yo, who's about to listen? Who, like, and especially during that time period, I'm like, whose attention span are you gonna keep for 8 minutes with the R&B record? And I heard it, I was like, oh my, it was like, oh my God, like it was like timeless, like life-changing music. That what's my joint? Pink Matter with Andre 3000, Bad Religion, Forrest Gump, Thinking About You. Listen, I'm naming almost every record. Monks, bruh. This
that's high on a lot of. It's interesting too because we named a lot of a lot of artists, a lot of projects, but that's high. Frank Ocean is high
It's
on a
high.
lot of people's
And
lists.
listen, you know the thing about it, like it's
That's the
so
crazy part.
And the crazy part is it's so I've never come across an album that is so underground and so crossover at the same time.
Right.
Like listening to it, like it's as non-traditional as it gets. But it became like Frank Ocean became like he's become like this almost like this icon. Like he comes out of his hole and it's like, all right, like if Frank Ocean puts out an album tonight, like the internet's gonna shut down. Like people are just gonna go get it. Like I don't know, and I don't know why. He doesn't necessarily look the part. It doesn't sound. It's not traditional at all. But it's just listen. This is when I knew Frank Ocean was a problem. I knew Frank Ocean was a problem when number one, Beyonce don't do features. Beyonce don't really do features. And Frank Ocean puts out an album, second album, with a Beyonce feature. And it's not a verse. Frank Ocean drops a record and says, "Hey Beyonce, I just want you to do background vocals." Who tells Beyonce, "I just want you to do background vocals. I don't want nothing else. That's it. I just want the background vocals." And she does it. And another thing, he like Jay-Z isn't the person to go out and reach for features, but listen, Frank Ocean pops up on a regular on Jay-Z albums. He pops up on a regular on Kanye albums. He pops up on a regular on Beyonce. Like he's hitting all the major heavyweight, the private heavyweight guys who don't reach out for a lot of features. He pops up on these albums and he gets features from people that don't do features. Andre 3000 is on every project from this man.
Yes, that's huge.
So the fact that Andre 3000 feels compelled, like when Frank Ocean called me,
yeah, he gotta be on.
I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up and drop the verse for him. So that I think that in my opinion, like he resonates with me, like one of my favorite artists, much less R&B artists. But this album, like when it comes to Channel Orange, depending on the day you ask me, I may say Channel Orange is my favorite album. Period. So that's my top 5 favorite. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna go cry in the corner because these are so amazing.
Okay, I like both of y'all lists, man. It's definitely tough, man.
Jose.
I'm gonna start with an honorable mention. This guy should have been in my top 5, but because of his history as far as dealing with, I know
I'll be
his history.
I'll be about to say. And Terry, don't let me cut you off. When you name the album, I'm gonna take the heat off you a little bit by telling a true story. Go ahead.
All right. The artist is R. Kelly, TP2. It is arguably one of the best albums of all time. I'm talking about it's in contention. Like if you like I'm talking about if you're under, I'm not even 40. I'm not even 35. If you're under 40, oh yes, you was definitely rocking with that. Definitely. You had the candle. You had the candles lit. Yes. You gotta think on this album. Yes. You had the greatest sex. The greatest sex was on there. Strip for You was on there. The beginning entry, the intro, the TP2 intro.
You know my joint?
Yes.
A Woman's Threat.
Yes, A Woman's Threat. Listen, the Fiesta joint was tough. I remember that Fiesta. I remember that joint. You gotta think. I Wish was on there. And feeling on your booty.
I Wish and I Wish 3. And I Wish 3.
Yes. I'm talking about like R. Kelly, but it's just I don't feel comfortable listening to the album because
I Don't Mean It.
Yes.
Oh, R&B Thug.
Oh my God. Listen,
I hate to get emotional about this album because of R. Kelly, but listen.
Tell your story.
Listen, swear to God. TP2.com is the first album I purchased with my own money.
Wow. Whoa.
TP2.com is the first album I purchased with my own money. Matter of fact, listen. I was staying to say this. TP2.com was like the album. It was like the R&B equivalent to 2001. That album got stolen so many times, and I went and rebought it every time.
Yes.
I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, guys. Don't cancel it.
Don't cancel us. That's why I put them honorable mention. I don't want nobody to cancel me.
Listen,
All
hey,
right, now,
it's a dishonorable mention.
yes. It's like, dang, bro. It's like, shoot. Dang.
I feel you. I vouch for the.
All right, my number 5. I'm gonna get John Legend. Get Lifted. That album was very incredible. From the writing to like the instrumentation to the vocals and the features, incredible. My number 4 would be Ari Lennox, Shea Butter Baby. I remember when the album came out on Twitter. I'm talking about it was like just black women. It was tearing Twitter up. I'm working my 9 to 5. I'm at my cubicle. I downloaded the album, and I'm talking about I put one earpiece in. I'm on the other phone talking to customers. It's like when I got there listening to that album, it was like I kind of understood like what black women wanted. I'm like, damn, I'm really missing out. It was like she gave me like an instruction booklet on what black women want, what black women need, basically. She gave me the instruction. Like I'm saying in my head, okay, so if I light these candles and I put these roses on the bed, you see what I'm saying? And I got that nice, you know what I'm saying? I got that I got the campfire.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I'm just saying.
Number 3. You going? Listen.
Right.
Number 3, my guy.
Jose is making this plea to Ari right now.
He was going somewhere with that.
My bad.
He talking about you got that. Come on, bro. From the heart. Listen, you ain't by yourself.
You're like Ari, I'm talking to you.
Hey, listen, he thought he was by himself for a second.
Ari, I'm talking to you specifically. You're like, forget these other girls.
He got, listen,
I'm gonna shoot my shot.
He was on the podcast.
I'm gonna shoot my shot. All right. So my number 3. I'm gonna go with. I know my man Wayne picked Confessions, right, and that's a great album.
I know you're going.
Never listen. I will never ever forget when Usher My Way came out. So when I was in 6th grade, I know y'all seen that. I know y'all seen that photo where I had the band geek and I had the little bow tie, whatever. So it was like 7th grade. That was like 1997, I believe. So at that point, I'm trying to get all the girls. So it's like when Usher came out. You got to think My Way came out on here nice and slow. You make me wanna. You got to think all those.
You make me wanna.
Yes, all those hits was on there. My number 2 would be, and my number 2 and number 1. The reason why I picked them is because like their writing ability and their like his R&B, but it was something that I had liked. Or something like that. They had probably never heard of him because they're Reeves, you know, like the Tanks. So this was something like new. It was something interesting, and all right. So my favorite R&B album of all time would be the Janae I Could people Childish Gambino on Bedpiece. Kendrick Lamar with Stay Ready. She had Absol on there with WTH, you know what I'm saying? And then the Comfort In freestyle, incredible. It was like that's like one of my favorite albums because I can play that from top to bottom. I don't even gotta pause it. I ain't gotta skip no records. It's short and it's to the point. So it's not like 20 records. It's about 7 records on there. So it's like basically it's gonna come in hot and it's gonna end hot. Basically, that's like one of my favorite like go-to albums.
Salute.
Ooh, matter of fact, this is fun. This was some good lists. Very solid.
Yes,
dope
sir.
episode.
But listen, cannot let the episode end without shouting out. They crossed my mind while we were talking. two great albums that I can't let go without mentioning. Beyonce, Lemonade.
Yes.
Excuse me, 3 albums. Solange, Seat at the Table.
Okay.
And then we got the GOAT, Michael Jackson, Thriller.
Ooh.
I couldn't let the episode end without dropping those.
Mine's tough.
Without dropping those 3
tough.
gems. Without dropping those 3 gems. But it's been an amazing episode. All right, so we're gonna wrap with our shameless plug. Anything you got to shout out, Jose?
I have a best friend. I grew up with him in Columbus, and he's basically working for a magazine. It's called FIYAH Lit magazine, and they basically specialize in like science and I want to say like what was it? Science and
like science fiction, fantasy, sci-fi.
There you go. So things that they would talk about would be like Harry Potter or any like Harry Potter, or it might be like books about like, you know, man turning into wolves and different things like that. The reason why I like this company is because it's all you know, Black African American based. They do deal with like, you know, other ethnicities and indigenous people. I'm very proud of my homeboy for, you know, writing for the magazine, you know, handling their social media, and moving forward or whatever. What do you have to say about it, Wayne? What are your thoughts?
I was just introduced to it recently. Man, we had a long conversation a couple nights ago. Like we were up to almost like 3 o'clock in the morning. But Brent's been a guy who's been grinding for a minute. But the magazine looked amazing. I really like how it kind of brings in like this subculture especially for African Americans. Like it's this subculture that where a lot of Black people don't feel comfortable operating in that space. So it's like a showcase for that. And I really love the fact that for every episode they curate a playlist to go along the magazine. So that was
okay.
super dope. So
I'm gonna tell you guys where y'all could go find it. The website is called FIYAH, which is FIYAH, and then Lit, which is LIT, and then mag.com. Please support this company. I mean, they're like a Black company. They're very, very good. They're like beyond on the rise. So I mean, they're trying to go for number 1 when it comes to like that scientific or that science fiction type of world. They're going for the top dog. So and I'm proud of my homeboy and the company, and I wish them the best and success when it comes to that. So.
Shout out to Brent Lambert doing big things. We're gonna drop the contact info in the comments as well. So please check it out. All right, what you got, Max?
Man, we just grinding, man. Just sticking to the script, man. You know, we got a couple more months left into 2020, so we're trying to end it on a high note, man.
And we're gonna end this second half on a high note. We're gonna try to end it on waves, yeah.
On a high note.
That's what's up. All right. We also we are currently at 549 followers as of today. So we're making the push towards 600.
Ooh.
So thank you guys. It's been that's a very small success for most people, but like we're super appreciative of each and every one of our followers. It's been a great ride so far.
We ain't waiting that to a million. We ain't waiting.
Listen, let's keep the movement going. We're pushing towards 600. Please share the page, share it with your friends, get them to add it. So that's what we want to shout that out. I also have to make a shout out to my little nephew. My nephew got his brand right here.
Okay.
If you need a cut in Atlanta, holla at my boy Surgical Cutz by Midknight. I'm gonna drop the link. I'm gonna drop the link down below. But young cat grinding, really humble dude, like really working on the come up. So please check him out. Please support him, and especially in this climate. He's super safe. Does great work, and he sets appointments. So please definitely check him out. Support him. Shout out the young homies. But for myself, again, you always catch me on Tuesday nights, R&B Grill in Columbia, doing stand up there. And most importantly, support the collective. King Jose, follow him on Instagram. My boy Matt Speed, follow him on Instagram. Mr. Nettles, follow me on Instagram. But most importantly, follow the podcast at Last and Hip Hop Podcast at Instagram. Another great episode, fellas.
Yeah, this got to go on, man. We got to.
I do want to get some. I do want to get some encouraging words, like
Yes.
before we end this. This is for all my entrepreneurs. This is for all my individuals or friends or peers or supporters of the podcast. We know that times are hard because of COVID-19. Take this time for you to develop your business. So when things do kind of go back to normal, I'm not going to say it's going to be completely the same. You'll be ready for it. Also, look for opportunities for you to change and grow. So if you see things to where, in my opinion, I feel that things are going to be more catered to online, find ways to get into those opportunities. That way you don't get left. Look at companies on the rise right now, see what they're doing, and basically see if you can change and adapt to make sure that you don't get left. So don't look at this as like a negative opportunity. Take this time for you to learn your craft, better position yourself. So when the world, comes back to kind of normal, you'll have a better stake and an opportunity for you to make income and have financial literacy as well. So,
but listen,
the word.
On that note, we gonna toss it. On behalf of my brother Jose, my brother Max, myself, Mr. Nettles, we are the Last and Hip Hop Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Continue to support us. We're gonna see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
Yes, sir.